students are engaged at every level. They continue to learn and explore, and they can find, no matter what their learning style is, they can continue to learn and grow and be passionate and excited about learning.
Children can learn, experience, and have self-disciplines and use their sense, and all their sense. It's not only the mind, it's texture, it's a smell. And I think that's really good for children. Children use all the area of their development, communication, motor skill. So I think it's all there. And make the children to simple themselves. It's like the whole world is a place for discover.
Knowing from my own experience and how I came up through a traditional schooling environment and how I see the Montessori school system, I see the Montessori school system teaching my kids a broader knowledge base, a broader experience about the world. They get to know about nature at a very young age. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They have pets in the class. They can feed the pets. They go out and explore the world. I think it's a very good way for kids to learn about the world in a hands-on way. So I think as they grow up older, they'll have a more appreciation for people, for culture, and for nature.
There seems to be such attention placed on who your child is as a person, and the teacher's willingness and ability to work with your child one-on-one to figure out the best way for them to learn. And I think that there are ways of doing that aren't distracting for their classmates.
We were looking for a school that had some diversity. And a lot of the schools we looked at, they were either all of one or the other group. And I didn't feel that was a good representation of what's out there in the world today. So Montessori at that time and still now has a good diverse group of kids and parents, and we like that a lot.
The whole thing is to get whatever they're doing. The difference in Montessori is Montessori places more value on the process of taking the information than the getting of the information itself. That's a natural outcome of the process. So the importance is doing the work.
As far as how they learn in the multi-age classroom, what I like about that and what I see is that one, the teacher teaches the entire classroom. And in the next step, the teacher teaches just one of the age groups. In the next step, the teacher teaches one-on-one with my daughter. But while all this is going on, the younger students in the classroom are learning from the older students in the classroom. So now, not only are our kids learning, but our kids are teaching. And you know that the best way to learn is to be able to teach it. So teaching is constant. It's not broken up from this group to that group. It's constantly going on, all at the same time within the classroom.
Each of my kids has been given a variety of jobs to do in the classroom, a lot of responsibility based on what they're able to handle. There are 3 grade levels in each classroom, and so my kids are able to work at the level they're at with some options. If they're doing really well in a subject, they can move ahead, and if they need some more work on a subject, there's support in the classroom for them to work on that subject with greater detail.
When Isaac entered 4th grade upstairs with the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, he came home and told me about something that he had to do at the first week of school. And they had a board in their classroom where every child has a job and their name is next to that job. And the job he received that first or second week of school was to review how well everybody else in the classroom had done their job. And I thought, he is in 4th grade. And there are 5th and 6th graders in his classroom, and he is going to have to review how well they did their job and their contribution to the classroom. Did they really contribute as well as they could? And that blew me away. I mean, my child was learning peer review as a 4th grader.
It teaches not only a child to be self-driven, but to be inquisitive, to not accept things for what they are, but maybe to ask the question why. to challenge, to be an independent thinker, but also to work in a team environment. And I feel like team environments are going to be commonplace as we embrace the future. So I believe it gives them the confidence in their own ability to learn.
Recently, one of my daughters, Natalie, who's 7, has seemed to show an interest in being like maybe an information architect or some kind of librarian or something. She took Post-it notes and put Post-it notes on everything in the house. The cat, the windows, the doors, labeling whose room it is, what kind of object it is, and really kind of showing that she has an in-depth understanding of the nuances of the space and what is inside that space.
It's a quiet classroom, and you wouldn't think it would be a quiet classroom with all of the movement. I love that when they come in, they get focused and they are ready to learn. They know what their options are. They sit down and they really just start working. But what I like is they can make choices during the day. In a traditional classroom, they don't get to make a choice. They're moved from one area to the next, and that's what they have to do. But what if your child wants to continue on math, but they have to go into reading? It really stifles some of that, and I love that. That's what I see, and that's what I love about the classroom.
If they want to go and do one thing and focus on, say, building blocks for 5 minutes at a time and then move on to something else, they can feel very free to do that and explore within their own limits and their own level of curiosity. And I find that very much exactly how my boys are. My 2 boys are aged today, 9 and 7, and they are still very much like that. So I see that the Montessori system is very consistent with how they like to interact with their environment.
My boys are extremely different. They could not be more different. Isaac is very academic, very cerebral. He loves books and learning and math and science, and Evan is the opposite. He's my creative, think out of the box, free-spirited kid, and I think they will both succeed in whatever they want to do, no matter what that is, whether it's arts or sciences or music or anything. I know they'll be successful because they're confident, they are brilliant, they are driven and determined, and I think those are all things that they've learned through Montessori and of course at home too, but I really think Montessori has solidified that.
They get a lot more latitude and freedom as they move up in their educational experiences. They go from their rug to the world in that process. So in first, second, third grade, they began to venture out. They had projects that required them to not only get materials from the classroom, but materials from Meijer supermarket. So they had a cooking assignment, and they had to go shopping with a parent to learn. They learned to build a list and learn to buy and learn to read the labels on ingredients. So their rug got bigger, and in the upper L, their rug is even bigger. They go to camp. They go to Chicago. When it's appropriate, they're expanding their view of the world.
When you are in a Montessori experience, students are encouraged to share, be in a community, grow at their own pace, be adventurous and learn, and not have dictated to them that these particular things have to be learned and you just have to memorize them and you're done. You want to wind them up with all the skills they need to go out into the world and think for themselves. So I think a Montessori experience does a better job at preparing kids for that kind of preparation for the world.
The workplace today is a very collaborative environment, and we don't just sit at our desk in cubes all day, and it's imperative that we work with each other, that we work in teams, and that we're able to have good communication skills and good networking skills. And I think that Dory has really, my daughter here has really understands how to work with people. She understands how to lead, and she understands how to follow, and she is very respectful of people's way of articulating and expressing themselves. I mean, I just think that she has really learned a lot in terms of working together with others.
The Montessori program is tailored to each child based on their own strengths and their unique abilities. I feel like my kids are more in tune with who they are as a person and how to be who they are in their environment, whether it's at school or in the neighborhood. And I feel like as an adult, they'll better understand their own strengths and they'll be able to bring that into any setting that they go into. And in addition to that, I would say that because the learning environment in the Montessori education is so diverse here at Grand Rapids Montessori, my kids will know how to work with all kinds of people at the end of the day. So I'm really excited about that.
My youngest son is much more engaged in, say, aeronautics, airplanes, and things like that. And Montessori gives him the opportunity, offers him the ability to engage in his interests. And Montessori is all about engaging the mind. And once you engage the mind and train the mind to explore and investigate, that's the beauty of Montessori, because once you start that at an early age, you never lose that.
As we get older, we say, wouldn't it be neat to go and help at a soup kitchen around Christmas? Well, our kids don't think about doing it at Christmas. Our kids think about, wouldn't it be neat to go help at a soup kitchen? It could be Tuesday, it could be January, it doesn't matter. So helping out in the community, being responsible in the community is the norm. It's not a special occasion.
What I think sets Montessori apart from the other schools is the fact that the parent involvement is so rich. I mean, you will find a parent on the playground, in the classroom. The parents are always there.
I love it. I love it. I love what it also does for the parents. I come and do office work, and not just for my son's classroom. I cut out things for other teachers and laminate things and do whatever needs to be done because I'm invested in the school. That's what Montessori does. It makes you invested in the education, and the parents are invested, the teachers are invested, and the kids are invested. It's an awesome place to learn.